window, and Emmett Mosley V from Stanford. So I'm excited about this guy. What do you think about him, Gerald?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't necessarily fit the profile of like what Steve Sarkisian is recruiting at wide receiver right now, like a bigger kid, 6'2", pushing 200. But I think one, we talk about it all the time. You and I mentioned it all the time. There are those guys that raise the ceiling and guys that raise the floor. And Emmett Mosley, no shot at him, is an absolute like floor raiser for Texas, right? 48 receptions, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, a big red zone target for Stanford, a guy who can go and high point a ball in the end zone, or you put one kind of on the sidelines and he's got the arms to reach out and get it. He's that kind of kid where he's able to use his body really well. Again, not quite as fast as what Texas normally recruits. I'm curious to see if he drops any weight between now and the fall, what that looks like. And then the other thing that jumps out to me, and something that we see that this coaching staff likes, comes from an athletic background, comes from a family of athletes and high-level athletes. Both of his parents were varsity athletes at Notre Dame. I think his mom was on a national championship team. His sister plays soccer at Iowa. So, like, he's got a pedigree of competition, and that seems like a weird thing to call out, but, like, there is a something to be said about people who grow up around people who have achieved quite a bit. He'd be like the third tallest wide receiver on the team, aside after Khalil Lockett and Terry. And so those are, again, I think he's a good addition for Texas. Not like the set the world on fire kind of guy like we thought Isaiah Bond was going to be, or like A.D. Mitchell was 2 years ago. But I think in a room that needs some experience, and a room that needs someone who's been around the block a time or two, I think it's a great addition.
I agree. I was excited when we got this guy. We've had 2 guys visit from Stanford, with Bailey off the edge, who I don't think has made a decision yet. And then Mosley, I agree. It raises the floor of this team, especially the wide receiver room. And he came on late. I believe in the last 3 or 4 games of the season, he had 324 yards receiving. So he played very well. And another thing too, there's a lot of one and done guys. That isn't this. This guy has 3 years of eligibility if he needs it to, if he hits here at Texas and moves on to the NFL. So that's really cool that we're going to have him here for multiple years. And I think he's a good football player. And let's be honest here. He had 525 yards as a freshman at Stanford. I don't even know who the quarterback at Stanford was. I'm pretty well versed on the college football landscape, and I have no idea who the quarterback at Stanford was last year, because they were a terrible football team. There were a couple really good players that they had, and Texas could end up with 2 of them possibly. Let's hope. We landed this one, and I'm very excited to see what happens with him. Where do you think he fits in the room? Do you think he slides in right away to where he can compete for that 3rd spot, or do you think he's more of a 4th guy?
Man, it's hard to tell. We're hearing a bunch of names out of camp, and we're hearing a lot. We don't have a spring game this year to see any of that come to fruition. But it's hard to come in because he's not going to be participating in spring ball, obviously, because he's not on campus yet. I guess he was on campus for a visit and committed, but he's not enrolled yet, right? So it's going to be hard to break into that rotation that Texas already will have cemented coming out of spring ball. So I think he'll start off probably as one of your first few guys off the bench, probably a rotational guy. But again, Steve Sarkisian is not afraid to play a lot of wide receivers and not afraid to feed the hot hands. When he comes in and plays really well, one of the things I am curious about is his blocking ability and his ability to put hands on somebody at wide receiver. That's been severely lacking, or at least it was lacking this last year. And so I think Texas has an opportunity. If somebody like him, that's a good way to playing time, is coming on the field and being able to block as a wide receiver. He's got the body and the frame to do it. And again, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it is a way to be serviceable to the offense. It's going to run quite a bit and going to need your blocking ability.
No, I agree. It's going to be interesting how he fits into that. We've had a lot of transfer guys come through here at the wide receiver room with Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, Silas Bolden, A.D. Mitchell, Ajay Hall, those guys. And there was only really, I don't know, Matthew Golden, I think, was the best blocker. Everyone else was kind of, blocked when they wanted to, I guess you could say. Yeah. So that is a very good point to bring up. I don't know how he's going to do doing that. I'm assuming if he's a take here at Texas, especially at a position that is, you have talent there. Now, do you have proven talent? No. That he's going to be at least a decent blocker for this football team is my assumption. But he had 10.9 yards per reception on top of what you said, which is 48 receptions, 525 yards. You get him for multiple years. You get him in this system. You allow, again, more competition to see who your best 3 to 4 guys are that you can put on the field. So I'm all for this signing. We'll see when he does get to campus officially and start practicing with the football team. Obviously, he missed the portal or the spring practice window, so he's going to have to wait a little longer to practice with the team, but hopefully comes in shape, ready to go, because there are spots up for grabs. Remember, Ryan Wingo is hurt and did not play at all this spring. DeAndre Morris, same thing. We've had, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, guys step up. Can he be one of those guys as well when he gets onto campus?
Yeah, and again, like you said, the opportunity is there and ripe for the taking. So can he do it?
100%. That does it for Emmett Mosley committing to Texas. Next up, we'll talk about another wide receiver